Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, once again here to Virtual Racing Network. Tonight we're here with the RACECORE Online Racing League. This is the championship race. However, I think the champion has already been crowned here tonight. Of course, that is going to be Jameer Muhammad, but we'll get into that officially and make sure all of that is in place here in just a few moments. As of right now, though, we're going to go through all the sponsors that have brought us to this point here for 2019 now. And for this series, those do include Global Building Contractors, iRacing Drivers World, the presenting sponsor here for tonight's race and this series, Dan Butler Designs. And of course, coming on here recently for this series is Gold Cube. Make sure you check out all of these great partners on their social media sites. And of course, here for the racing, we wouldn't be here for 2019 if it wasn't for the following partners. Those do include Northwest Racing Series. If you're in the Northwest Club here on iRacing, look them up if you're looking for some great racing. Of course, you can catch all of the racing action at 10:30 p.m. Central Time on Monday and Wednesday night here on the Virtual Racing Network, because those seasons are wrapping up as well and new seasons will be starting. Perfect time to get to joining that series. Walls Beard Co. Beard Balm, of course, make sure you check them out. For all of you gentlemen out there that have a beard, this is a must to check them out. All natural and organic products, so definitely head over to wallsbeardco.com and pick some of that up today. Coming on here, new is RaceOnTexas.com. Not only are they a partner here with us, we're actually doing work with them. They have a stream going as well here tonight, so we're going to be doing some work with them here in the future, so make sure you check them out. SimSpeedShop.com has renewed for 2019 in a big way. We are going to be giving away a button box custom made by them when we hit 2,500 subscribers. So definitely make sure you check out SimSpeedShop.com for those button boxes, e-brakes, and they also have flags on there. Not just the flag you would wave, it is a digital flag for you iRacers. So head on over there, check them out, and again, spread the word. When we hit 2,500 subscribers, we will give away one of their button boxes. iBog, iRacing Broadcast Overlay Graphics, your sim race broadcast graphic source. We use them here at Virtual Racing Network, and if you're looking to get into broadcasting or just need some new overlays, check them out at ibog.co. And of course, our newest sponsor, well, technically not newest anymore, but we're newest for a while. That is RACECORE Online Racing League, the very league you are watching here tonight for their championship night here at Daytona International Speedway. Should be a great race with 29 drivers. Make sure if you're looking to get into some great racing, check them out at RaceCoreOnlineRacingLeague.com. And that being said, we do have a guest here in the booth. He's not really a guest, he's more like family, as we've said it before at this point. He is getting stuff loaded in, so hopefully he is here for the race, but we'll go ahead and introduce him anyway just because we like to, and that is the one and only Jeff Stabno. So Jeff, welcome to the booth once again here for the championship night.
Hey Charles, I can't believe get to be a part of this tonight. We got a championship race at Daytona. How ridiculously crazy is that? This is awesome. Couldn't resist being a part of this, so kind of barged into the booth on you here tonight.
Well, we definitely we leave your chair in there for you with your name on it, and of course, like Motel 6, we leave the light on at any time for Jeff to come in the booth anytime he wants, so we're glad to have you here. We got about 45 seconds before we get this thing started, so we're going to go ahead and jump right to the national anthem. We will be right back, as it's going to take them a minute to go around this track, and we'll report times for qualifying coming up next.
We take you down onto the track for our opening ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Please remove your hats.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous flight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen, as times have still not officially come in, so we're going to drop down there with these drivers as things are getting underway. But we were just talking while the national anthem was playing there about who we're going to talk to, and last heard, Jamir Muhammad does have a 50-point lead, so he's pretty much wrapped up this championship. All he has to do is basically sit on pit road and then start the race, and he has this championship won.
Well, it'll certainly take some of the craziness out of this being the final race, but still going to be interesting to watch.
It definitely is, because, knowing that he obviously is, already basically has won the championship, he has nothing to lose here tonight. He can go as hard as he wants to and make gambles that other people can't. Knowing Jamir, he probably won't do that. He doesn't want to risk other people's race, but he could. He doesn't have that risk of being losing the championship.
Well, yeah. So you must have some updated points somewhere, or else I'm looking at the wrong standing page here. But yeah, that certainly would make this a whole lot more fun, knowing that you came out here and had the championship sewed up. Because coming out here to run this race tonight and trying to protect the lead, that'd just be crazy. I'm trying to figure it out earlier today. Where would you go? Would you go hide the back? Well, no, because that's not completely safe. Would you try to get up front? Well, if you don't have enough friends up front, that can be a pretty dangerous place to be too. So trying to protect the lead would be just nerve-wracking here. Points lead for a final race at Daytona, whereas if you're the guy that's trying to come from way back and there's enough points on the table to do it, all of a sudden everything's possible.
Definitely. So it changes the scenario. It would have been awesome to see. However, I know going into the next race here, which is we're switching drivers there, will be Tuesday coming up. I believe that one's only separated by 2 points for Mikey Neal and Jamir Muhammad. So while this one's the complete opposite scenario here, as far as the championship goes, this coming Tuesday in 2 days, it's going to be really crazy. And this is basically the same drivers.
Yeah, and these guys are just such a great league to watch, to follow. We've got Jamir Muhammad and Mikey Neal just going at it. There's plenty of other fast drivers in there. I haven't been following the K&N cars as closely as I have some of that Xfinity stuff, but we've done a couple races here, and these guys are just a great crew, and there's just always some great battles here.
Yeah, there definitely is. And so far, I'm really kind of shocked here to see here as we do have Jerry Glenn that just took the pole here for qualifying the number 98 machine. Only 9 drivers out of the 29 drivers here have qualified. So we have 20 drivers that have opted not to qualify That is just crazy.
It's funny you should say that because I just happened to look over at chat there, and old Huffy is giving me a hard time there for saying that takes some of the crazy out of the race. His comment was, "There's always crazy in one of these races." He's absolutely right. Probably the most true comment we'll have tonight. Whether we say it or whether it's in chat, there's bound to be some crazy, and the number of drivers that didn't qualify tonight, like you said, is just ridiculous. Because now you got like Mikey Neal and Jameer Muhammad, and I think a couple of these guys had EOLs too. But
speaking of that,
yeah, you've got a couple guys in there, man, and they're automatically starting in the middle of the pack without qualifying. So definitely crazy.
Yeah, to speak of that, while they're getting to the grid, Scotty Zerk, Mikey Neal is one of them, Brandon Young, Chad Ellis, Craig Covington, and Butch Frazier, all EOLs. But still, that's 5 or 6 drivers out of 20. That's still a ton of drivers that did not qualify, that didn't receive EOLs. And, of course, speaking of drivers that didn't qualify, drivers that did, we have a lot of drivers to go through here tonight. So, Jeff, you want to run through our first 5 rows, or top 10 drivers here on the grid, and then I will bring us home.
Yeah, sure. Now, I'm not sure everything's going to be right here because I see in race right now they are giving some EOL. So I think they're sending a few of these guys that were mid-pack all the way to the back of the line here. But we'll go ahead and run through the top 10 as we have it right now. But there may be a couple of these guys that go to the back. So, starting number 1 there on the inside front row, on pole position is the 98 of Jerry Glenn. Outside row 1, the 57 of Jeremy Morrison. In row 2, we've got the 99 of Justin Starr and the 21 of Dan Butler. In row 3, we've got the 78 of John Van Varillis and the 12 of James Morgan. In row 4, we've got the 7 of Brett Messervy and the 19 of Francois Pelletier. In row 5, we've got the 77 of Justin Spear, and the 8 car of Mikey Neal. In row 6, we've got the number 2 car of Jameer Muhammad and the 10 car of Jason Covington. In row 7, we've got the 45 of Brian Jones, and rounding out your top 14 is the 5 of Brandon Dorsett.
In row 8 is going to be the 33 of Josh Coley, not taking a time here. Of course, a lot of people not taking times. On his outside is going to be the 83 of Alex Huffman. Row 9 is going to be the 24 of Brian Bizzle and the 9 of Brian Dorsey. Row 10 is going to be the 555 of Butch Frazier and the 91 of Jim Locking. Row 11 is going to be the 51 of Brandon Young and the 101 of David Gainforth. Row 12 is going to be the 6 of Matthew Ellis and the 18 of Ray Black Jr., who we've already established is actually a professional Xfinity driver. So it'll be interesting to see how he fares here tonight at Daytona. Row 13, the 70 of Sam Crow and the 63 of Charles Hoffman. Row 14, the 17 of Sterling Smith, 31 of Scotty Zerk. And rounding out the field here tonight, at least before the EOLs here in row 15, is the 96 of Craig Covington. And just like that, the pace car is diving off, and we're getting ready to get this thing going as the green flag is out. We are racing for the first time and for the last time here of this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeremy Morrison and Dan Butler are off to great starts there. Looks like Dan Butler on the outside line there. If I've got that right, maybe I've got the wrong number. Jeremy Morrison actually jumps out to the lead, but the 98 of, my standings were messed up there. Jerry Glenn there able to pull ahead, but nobody on his back bumper, so I think he's going to get ate up here by that outside rope.
Yeah, you do not want to be alone here at a track like this. And while we're watching them come down the track here, I want to go way, way back in this field and note that Butch Frazier did not start. Look who's in his own little pack here. That is Mikey Neal with a group of about 4 people. I just saw him trying to find a spot, but even throughout this field, as we got somebody having connection issues, and that's Jameer Muhammad, who has just retired from the race due to a connection issue as Butch Frazier does finally connect.
Well, probably a good thing he had a 50-point lead because it appears that he might have needed every one of those points to walk away with the championship tonight.
Yeah, definitely did, and I would imagine he could probably still do it, but, if this field was much bigger, it could have really still hurt him. There's 29 cars. They've been known to have 43 cars here at this track, so this could have got really interesting if he actually didn't. If he'd had maybe 30-point lead, this just could not be settled yet. But unfortunately, and fortunate for him, he does. So we'll see if he comes back here later.
Yeah, absolutely. But meanwhile, we've got some fast cars in the back, and they're kind of forced to have a decision here. And I say fast cars. That's relative to probably our normal race, and everybody's fast at a super speedway. But we've got some guys that typically run up front here in the back. It's going to be interesting to see what their strategy is running back there and how they plan to get to the front, when they plan to get to the front, or if they plan to just ride around back there. Usually that's kind of the overarching theme here, at least at the beginning.
Yeah, and they're, as we're just talking about that, riding where you want to ride, Butch Frazier in that 555 is now going a lap down. We point that out, for one, because he didn't start the race for the rest of these guys, and two, we talk about it every week, how professional these guys are. Butch Frazier took it all the way to the high side, let these guys go by, and just kind of tucked in where he could. He didn't try to get in front of them and try to take the lead, or not really take the lead, but take that lead spot at the front of the pack. So the respect level for each driver here is outstanding. That may decrease as we get to those last 5 laps, though.
Yeah, speaking of outstanding, man, we've got 2 lines going up front here at Daytona, but the thing that's probably impressing me the most is these guys are running nice, steady gaps, right? We don't have a bunch of guys that are falling way back because they're afraid to get too close. We don't have guys running all over each other's bumpers. And for the most part, these guys have been running pretty straight lines. So just some nice, clean, and tight racing up front, which could bode well for some exciting action here a little bit later.
Yeah, definitely could. And I want to point out, too, that, here in the last couple of races, I know I talked to Justin Starr, league owner, quite a bit here. And he talks about, how he typically doesn't finish the race or gets wrecked or something, has damage. Not saying that might not happen here. It's Daytona and anything's possible, but solid right now 4th place run, 3rd place depending on where he goes. And why I really want to point that is because that is probably the closest battle we have point standing wise. I believe it's by 5 points is what Justin said between him and, you will not believe it here, between Dan Butler, who's sitting right next to him on the track right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm showing 514 points to 509 points. And then you drop down, you probably lose another 21 points to get Jones.
Big wreck.
Right, and our leader, too.
Oh, and they're still wrecking. We got 2 distinct wrecks going on as we're going to have to filter through this one. There is a lot of cars and even more appearing once the smoke clears. And we're going to have to go back and take a look and see what happened there. So we'll go back about 30 seconds here.
Well, sounds like the broadcaster's curse. Just when we were complimenting them on how good and tight they were running and straight they were running up top, it looked like the 98 up there got a little aggressive with the side draft there and actually came down and turned the 57 there. So probably some upjet drivers if you're side drafting that tight this early in the race. But with no fast repairs, we got a lot of cars that took some pretty heavy damage.
We definitely did. This is a race you're going to be glad it's the championship race, and you might not want to remember as we're watching here to see exactly what happened. And there it is. The 98 does get it. The 21 gets involved. And out of all of that, I believe our top 3 cars were involved, and then just everyone else behind them, of course. But what I want to point out is Justin Starr, while he didn't come down pit road, is our new race leader.
Yeah, somehow, right place, right time. He was about the only front-running car that was able to avoid all that. Everybody else up there in the league, up there in that lead pack, pretty much got caught up in it. Justin Starr, being down there in that bottom row underneath the leader, able to get through. So maybe a little bit of good luck finally going Justin Starr's way here.
Definitely just, crazy how these things work out. And For anyone that's not ever been in a real race car or on here on iRacing, it's not much different in real life than it is in here. When that happens, you literally, we can sit there and watch the replay over and over again, but in the actual moment, you have like milliseconds to decide what you're going to do, and it is the difference between making it and getting involved in the wreck.
Yeah, and I just want to point out, it looks like we've got several cars that were forced to tow. We got the 20 or the 98 of Jerry Glenn, the 51 of Brandon Young, the number 7 of Brent Messervy, the 101 of David Gainforth, the 57 of Jeremy Morrison, the 91 of Jim Locking, and the 555 of Butch Frazier. Likely all these guys are probably going to go at least one lap down, if not more. And just looking at my timing screen, it appears that they had to tow.
Yeah, definitely. And that's a very unfortunate that you have to tow. From being on iRacing, knowing that had a caution not come out and you have to tow, it's about a 2-minute tow. However, if a caution comes out, it actually increases, so they're looking at a 3-minute tow, roughly in there anyway, where it takes about 2 minutes to get around this track, so that's guaranteed one lap down at least, and you don't even know how much damage they have. They could be there for 20-30 minutes.
Well, let's just say we look at everybody that's got more than 16 seconds of damage and assume, or 16 seconds on this stuff, and just assume that they took damage, right? It would be faster for me to tell you who had a 16-second stop or less. That's Jason Covington. So up front, we got Justin Starr, Josh Coley, Brian Bizzle, Brandon Dorsett, Jason Covington, Francois Pelletier, Scotty Zerk, Craig Covington, and that's it. So on the surface, it would appear that those would be the only drivers that did not sustain some damage. And I haven't even gone back to look at all them yet. Some guys might have just said, the heck with it, I'll take the track position. Everybody's wrecked. So as far as the big ones go, man, this was the big one.
It definitely was, as that has, again, just so everyone knows, we started with 29 drivers here tonight. On track at this moment, we have 19 actually, 20, as we have Justin Spear catching up with the field. So we actually have 20, so that eliminated, for the time being, 9 drivers out of the race. And like you said, based on pit stop times, there were many more than that had a little bit of damage, probably just trying to avoid it scraping the wall or something like that. And it's just crazy. That definitely was the big one. The question is it going to be the only one tonight?
I doubt it. I mean, we're on lap 9 of 65. It's the season-ending race, and there's, man, if ever there was a standing shakeup, that was maybe it. So, anytime you end a season on a race like this, I think there's plenty of incentive to race aggressively. I can't imagine that would be the last one.
Now, I definitely don't think it will be. And I don't think we have Jameer here, even though he was here at one point. He is not here with us. Hopefully, if Jameer is out there listening, we can get him here in chat, because I have a feeling we are not going to be done with cautions, and I would definitely like to talk to him about being the champion. As we found out from Justin here, just a little backstory on the trophies and stuff here. I'm not sure if they're getting a trophy for this one, so don't quote me on that, but I know that between Justin and Jameer, it's not that far of a distance, but because Jameer actually lives in Canada, it costs an arm and a leg to get that trophy to him. So they actually are planning on any other trophy shipping him to Florida, and then where he has family, to get it to him.
Yeah, that's just crazy, because I believe that literally just a bridge there on the border separates the two of those guys.
Yeah, it really is. He said he could walk it across the bridge cheaper than he could mail it to him. And from what we've heard, I haven't actually seen one of these trophies, but they're not cheap trophies. I know Justin said they range anywhere from $50 to $200 trophies, so I would imagine they are probably pretty nice trophies.
Yeah, we did trophies last year in our series, and let me tell you, those things are not cheap.
Oh, they definitely are not, unless you want some little rinky-dink one, which nobody wants to give that out. They want something nice, and they are not cheap. Which, it just goes to show how much dedication the league owners have here for this league, how much dedication these drivers have. They're all chasing for that trophy because it's nice and they want it. And obviously, right now they're all chasing Jameer. This is going to be like his second or third championship.
Yeah, we got another group of cars coming down right now in pitting, so I'm curious. I don't think this puts us in a fuel window, so I don't know if these guys are just trying to get to the back of the line or not. But we just had about 10 cars come down to the pits.
Now we did hear 20 laps on his 20 laps is the fuel window, so they are well short of going down for a fuel window. Although they might be trying to make it some type of strategy, we'll see. But what we do know for sure is the green flag is back out, as it is Josh Coley and Justin Starr side by side. But right now, Josh Coley has the lead here. As we were going to get him a VRN paint, but we just didn't have time.
I think Josh Coley runs just about every VRN league there is now, so we might have to just label him Mr. VRN.
Yeah, definitely. He is representing here tonight. And so is Justin Starr. He's been known to run a VRN paint job here, timing for a little bit here in this series. But he is actually the leader right now, as he has the 19 of Francois Peltier pushing him to the lead. So that outside row doesn't quite have the car count they need to get something going, and they're actually kind of spread out.
Well, I think they're just taking it easy. The 31 there, Scotty Zerk, backing off a little bit of that rear bumper on Josh Coley, whereas Francois Pelletier, early on in that run, this restart, had no problem getting the back bumper of Justin Starr. And it's just, kind of like we talked about with that aggressive side drafting, how hard do you need to run on lap 12 of 65, right?
Yeah.
How big of a hurry are we to get there? As we see, I think 3 wide right now. We've got somebody ducking out to the outside there. 3 wide in row 2, the 63 there.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That was Charles Hoffman in the 63 that went 3 wide there for a second. I'm not too sure. Maybe you've been in these cars more than I have. This early, I would think maybe it was trying to get a little air, maybe. I don't know how these cars handle as far as temperature when they're bumper to bumper like that. You might be able to shed some light on that if these cars are like the Xfinity or Cup and can overheat.
I'll be honest, I haven't run these cars in the super speedway in quite a while. What I do remember is that these cars handle the beating and the banging and putting the bumper to each other a whole lot better than the Xfinity does, or the trucks, or the Cup car. As we got some 3 wide lap traffic stuck up there against the wall there that we've got to navigate by. Some really bad off-pace cars there, so that could come into play later, but. Back to these cars, these are the fixed setup, and typically iRacing doesn't put very much tape on these fixed setups. So you got a real tough time overheating these things. I think anybody that's just running the slow and backing off right now is just trying to make sure they make it to the end.
Yeah, and talk about the 63 of Charles Hoffman, who did that earlier. He also has damage on the back of his car too, so I don't think it's going to hinder him as much as if it was the front. But you get that damage, and depending on where you get the damage on your car, it can affect whether you are a better pusher or better at being pushed. And depending on where you get in that line, that could hinder how that line performs. So these drivers have got to be cautious of who they're pushing and who's pushing them, or they may not get to the front.
Oh, you absolutely always have to be aware of that at a super speedway. You've got to figure out real quick who you're comfortable running with, who you're comfortable pushing, whose door handle you're comfortable running next to. That's all part of the survival. Like we said, everybody's faster at the super speedway. There's a fair amount of crazy, there's a fair amount of luck, but there's not as much crazy and luck as most people think there is, because we typically see the same people winning these races over and over again. And that's got to tell you there's just a little bit less luck or crazy than sometimes we make it out to be.
Yeah, it definitely, Lady Luck needs to be on your side, but skill, you've got to have it here. And everyone's on a level playing field when you start this race with those fixed setups. So it really comes down to how you can drive this car and how well you can get to that front. And some of these guys are just experts at getting to the front and holding the front. This is one of those tracks to me where you get a lot of people saying he was blocking me, he was doing this, he was doing that. I don't see that as much as is strategically placing yourself. If you see a line coming up on the outside, you probably going to go up there and try to cut that momentum off. That's what you do as a lead, is you've got to try to maintain both lanes, unless you've got a teammate and you're running side by side. Oh, and a big wreck too.
Oh,
bunch of cars involved in this one as well.
I'm looking for it. It must have been a little bit further back.
I believe it was a 77 of Justin Spear that was involved in this. I'm not sure if it originated with him. He definitely was involved. So we're watching that now. He's back here with there it is. It was the 78 and the 77 getting together is what started all of it.
Yeah, looks like we got Krispy Kremes all over the place there.
We do indeed, and luckily for Mikey Neal, they're not covered in any Bud Light over there, as it looks like the Krispy Kreme would be John Van Varelis. I think he slid up. We're about to see here as we're watching from the blimp camera to see indeed. So yeah, John Van Varelis slides up, gets into Justin Spear, and it was pretty much on from there. The 5 of Brandon Dorsett gets involved just a little bit. But not quite as big as our last one we had, so a lot more drivers surviving this one.
Yeah, not real sure what caused that. Great job and cut through the grass there by a couple of these drivers to avoid that and actually bringing it back up on the track safely. So, it probably happened in one of the best places for it to happen, but there was some brilliant wreck avoidance going on there.
Yeah, there definitely was a lot of wreck avoidance going on, but it looks like for the most part, everybody here in our top 17 are coming down, and that's how many are on the lead lap. So everybody that's on the lead lap is coming down. And I want to point out here, let's go find Josh Coley real fast, as once again he comes down 5.5 seconds. Justin Starr 6.1. Sterling Smith didn't even come down. These guys in the top 6 positions are coming in for either 2 tires or a splash of fuel. They're not even taking tires.
No tires at 5.5 seconds. They're just taking fuel, and that's probably a good call. You got a night track here at Daytona. I don't think you even need tires to finish this race, 65 laps. Take the field, get the track position, stay up front. If you're riding around in the back, get your tires. But yeah, I don't think tires really mean that much here at this night race at Daytona.
Yeah, definitely don't. And while we have a moment, I know we have him here. You want to see if we can't pull Josh up here and talk to him, as I believe this will be one of the first times you've got to interview.
Well, let's see.
And while he grabs him real quick, there we have Josh Coley. Welcome to the booth here, as you're currently running in second place. We figured we'd give Jeff a chance to interview you here.
Hey, Josh Coley, how's it going out there, man?
So far, so good.
We had a big pileup on that first one. We had some pretty aggressive side drafting out there on that first run, and saw all but about 10 cars sustain some type of damage. And, you were able to actually get through that unscathed and get up front. So now that you're up front, what's the strategy here?
I don't know, man. I'm just going to try to work with Justin Starr, I think, and try to make it to the end without getting wrecked.
So you do have somebody to work with up here. That's good to know. And we noticed that you're not taking tires here on these pit stops. So tires are going to be an issue at all?
I don't think so. Haven't had any handling issues, so I take the track position over the tires, I think, right now.
All right. Well, we'll let you get back down there. I imagine you got a couple shout-outs here to give.
Yeah, got to do the iRacing Drivers World, Oval Building Contractors, Gold Cube, Dan Butler Designs, and I may even be missing one.
All right, Josh. Good luck, and we'll get you back down to your race.
All right, appreciate it.
All right, and he did forget one. He forgot us. We're just, he always mentions us. But anyway, that's aside. We like to mention that as we're riding on board with him. We've had 2 cautions here on lap 19 of 65. We still got a lot of racing to go, and again, I just want to talk about how crazy it is to have a Daytona for your final race. RACECORE loves to do stuff like this. They don't go with the norm, and it really makes for some fun racing.
Yeah. I mean, this, like we said earlier, man, if we had some points on the line, for the league win, I mean, how crazy would that first race have been tonight, or that first wreck?
Yeah, and I don't know if the viewers out there can hear this, but I'm running on board here with Josh Coley in that 33 still. And I can actually hear him. He will rev it up, and then you can hear the car completely shutting off. So he is actually out there trying to conserve fuel. He'll catch up, and then he'll turn the car off. You can actually hear the engine stopping.
Well, there's 2 things you actually achieve by doing that. Number 1 is conserving fuel. Again, we kind of guessed, and we probably should have asked him if temperature is an issue here. But shutting it off here on these pace laps, as long and slow as they are, you can really bring the temperature of that car down significantly, which means on that restart, you can put the bumper to somebody and get your line moving real fast and sustain that a little bit longer.
Yeah, I would imagine since he has nobody in front of him, he's definitely trying to do it to, I guess he's still going to be doing it to cool that temperature down. Definitely saving fuel is they have 20 laps of fuel here. We're 2 laps in. We're on lap 20. So you do the math there, 40 and 60. If you go 2 more stops, we're going to be a little bit shy. So if we don't see any cautions, we will still have a 5-lap shortage on fuel. So every ounce of fuel you can save is going to be good.
Well, they make up quite a bit on these caution laps. I think what I'm looking for here, though, is on this restart. Josh mentioned that he was working with Justin Starr. We see him cooling that car down. Maybe he's saving gas, probably likely. But what's he going to do in the restart? Are they going to tuck in behind each other? Are they going to battle each other side by side? We're about to find out.
We are indeed, as the green flag is back out. And they are not. They're staying side by side with each other. And, that's a valid strategy, too. Control both lanes. If you control both lanes, that does one of the things there is Josh Coley is going to slide in. It looks like they are going to work with each other. But to that point, if you can control both those lanes, it makes it virtually impossible for somebody to get around. The only way they're going to do that is to make another lane, which could get a little hectic up for everybody. But it looks like Justin Starr has decided to work with the 63 to get ahead of the 33.
I'm not sure that 99 got the memo that he was working with the 33 there, because he jumped right out in front of that 63 and wanted to get right back to the lead there. So they may be working together. And here goes the 19 with a pretty aggressive move again in front of that 63. So 63 continues to find himself the bridesmaid and not the bride here, as he's having to push everybody to the lead.
That's what I was about to point out there, is that 63 of Charles Hoffman has got to be a little bit feeling used out there right now, as everybody that has come to the lead has pretty much come through his lane to get there. But it's just a matter of time. The 19, I don't think, had quite enough steam to get up there to get to the lead. But look at that group coming behind them, and look who's leading. The 8 of Mikey Neal being pushed by Brandon Young in the 51. I know those two are going to be working together. And look behind them, the 83 of Alex Huffman. So 3 people that will work together, and they're leading that second group.
Yeah, with this group of friends and teammates and drivers coming together, Justin and Josh up there in front might want to solidify that deal a little bit more formally.
Yeah.
Because they're going to need to work with each other if they're going to hold these guys off. Looks like they're making a play for the front right now.
Yeah, you definitely, and it's a time like this, like you said, solidifying that partnership there a little bit. When that second group catches, it's going to be a time you're going to find out who your friends are on this track, if they're really going to work with you. And one thing you have to remember about this is anytime you come to a super speedway track, you are going to find out who your friends are, and you really just have to, find somebody to work with and hope that they'll work with you back, as we saw the 33 and the 99 didn't really get that memo straightened out.
Yeah, absolutely. Unless they were just taking turns leading laps there, I didn't happen to see if any of those were at the start-finish line. I don't know if there was bonus points involved. I know looking at the standings, both of them are in very tight points battles. Josh Coley 1 point ahead of David Gainforth, who got in a little bit of trouble on that last wreck, or that first wreck, and finds himself 12 laps down. So that spot's probably safe, but only 2 more points behind him is John Van Vreelos. Mike Rigney is another 3 points back. And, in front of Josh Coley, 7 points of Sam Crow. So there's a lot of spots still undecided there. And then, of course, you go up to Justin Starr, and we talked about his battle with Dan Butler, and only 5 points separating them for 4th place. So both of these guys could be looking at bonus points and everything they can here. That could have been part of the deal. As things seem to have settled down and gone single file here, at least for the time being.
Yeah, they definitely have. And that's another thing we didn't really talk about a whole lot is going single file. Now that we're kind of getting into a rhythm here on lap 25 of 65 laps on the books, we are currently 7 to 8 laps in. So here already in just over 10 laps, about 13 laps, now 12 laps, we'll be back down pit road again. If we actually make it to green flag pit stops coming up here again in 12 laps, that's another thing we're going to see. You could see a wreck coming down pit road. Who's going to come down pit road with you? That is a big part of plate racing, is coming down pit road and working out who's going to come with you.
Hey, if these guys got to stop again, that absolutely is huge. I know myself personally, that hurt me pretty bad in a race here in the playoffs earlier in our season. So, I mean, it's critical getting into the pits there and getting out of the pits. Real easy to get these cars spinning or lock up the brakes and overshoot the pit entrance. So finding friends and being able to pit with them successfully, if we do have to do green flag pit stops, would probably determine this race.
Yeah, very well could. And we know some of these guys here. If Ray Black Jr. is anywhere, he's back currently in 15th, where his partner that would work with him really good that we know of anyway, Francois Peltier, all the way up in 5th. So that's a big gap to work with each other. Justin Starr will probably do some work with. There's several people he could work with here. Mikey Neal would probably be one of them. Brandon Young, Alex Huffman here. Some of these guys, they're going to work with each other. They're on a team together. So, really, when a plate track comes out, actual teammates are just a huge thing here. As Justin Starr still holding on to this lead. So, pit stops are going to be even more crucial for him.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that outside row. I think when you started talking there, we were single file, but we've got a 3-car outside row that's pushed all the way to the front. We got 3 teammates there, Alex Huffman, Brandon Young, and Mikey Neal. So here they come. And these guys are clearly pretty comfortable running with each other. I've seen them running real close. Brandon Young and Mikey Neal there. We're just running bumper to bumper for a minute as they separate, just probably to make me look a little foolish there. Alex Huffman backs off and they slide back a little bit. But the 3 of them running pretty tight. We're able to drive right up to the front on that outside.
Yeah, and being those 3, I don't want to. This isn't a real close analogy or anything going on here, but to look at Sterling Smith, technically they are working together, but technically he is on BNS Racing, and then you have 2 Kick Asphalt Motorsports cars. With those 3 together, making a run on the outside seems eerily similar to a very famous race where we lost a great racer, which would be at Daytona. You have Dale Sr., Dale Jr., and Michael Waltrip. That's kind of that same scenario that's going on right now.
Well, not to take away from the comparison there, but it looked to me like the 19 and the 51 got into each other a little bit there, as the 19, now Francois Pelletier, jumps out front of Mikey Neal there in that outside row, but Looked like there was a little bit of wobbling going on in contact, and just as I say that, it looks to me like the 18 got into it with somebody, so a little bit of side door contact there. So things heating up, and it looks like the 8 car sustained a little bit of damage on that left front fender.
He did indeed. And now they may have said, we've had enough of that. Let's go single file for a while again. Although Mikey Neal on the outside getting shuffled way back as he's going to lose about 3 or 4 spots in all of this. So he gets shuffled back, and it looks like he's going to lose one more to Charles Hoffman. But don't kid yourself. They may regroup here and get single file, as you already see them going double file again. It will not take very long before they get tired of this, and we see some 2, possibly even 3-rod racing again.
Yeah, we'll see, though. I think a couple of those Kick Asphalt guys sustained a little bit of damage, so we'll see if the arrow hurts them there a little bit. I'm not sure what happened. Maybe everybody just got lulled to sleep a little bit, wasn't paying attention, but line started moving, and Mikey Neal definitely has some damage there, and probably going to affect his ability to lead that line. We'll have to see.
Yeah, so we'll go over there to his roll bar camera, go on board with him, and you can see just how much it's raised up. It doesn't look quite as bad as it did from outside the car, but definitely it does have damage. So it is going to hinder him here. And, we talked about it a little earlier. Depending on where you get that damage, the front, in my opinion, is probably going to be a little worse than if you were to, get the back caved in a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's if you take damage in the front, usually you can hide it by getting right up on somebody's bumper and doing the pushing, but it makes it harder for you to lead that pack. If you take damage in the back, then usually you can get somebody right up there on your bumper to kind of move that air over the damaged spoiler, and sometimes as a leader you can keep up. So we'll just have to see if it's enough to affect that either way. Mikey Neal, though, appears to have a little bit of damage both front and back now.
And that's the last thing he wants, is damage to that car on both, because that can really affect if you can even win this race. However, I still don't think we're completely out of this race as far as a big wreck happening. If a caution comes out, we'll kind of regroup, because we have 23 cars back on the track out of the 29. Again, I said earlier, we're down to 20, so we have gained 3 more cars, or actually it might have been even 17, so we've gained several more. But that second group that's lapsed down, they are quite a ways back from the rest of these. They just went another lap down, but again, I don't know if they have the car to win with all that damage, but I wouldn't count them out of a top 10 finish still, because 2-3 cautions, they get their laps back, they're back in this race.
Well, there's not a lot of clean cars left out here. I mean, I don't know how many cars have avoided the 2 big wrecks that we've had so far. I think that last one got everybody that was trying to ride around in the back, at least, worst case scenario, forced them to drive down through the grass and tore up their splitter. That first wreck, I think, got roughly 20 out of the 29 cars sustained some sort of damage. So, it may not be that bad, comparatively speaking. There might be, I don't think there's a whole lot of clean cars.
Yeah, there definitely isn't. I would say your front 5, maybe your front 5, and then there may be a few back there a little bit that don't have too much damage. Surprisingly here, as I went back to Brandon Dorsett, I'm really shocked that he does not have more damage than he does. He was involved in that first incident as he actually drove right through someone's car, but it may have been a little bit of a net code, and he didn't sustain much damage from it. So, that's one of those times that's definitely lucky to be good, or good to be lucky than necessarily good.
Yeah, well, right now we've got 14 cars running up there in this lead pack. Everybody else either laps down or in danger of going laps down here real quick. Sterling Smith, kind of the first car in that back pack, and they're almost, they're about 5 seconds away from going a lap down here. So you got Sterling Smith, Ray Black Jr., Brian Dorsey kind of running around in that 3-car pack. Probably going to go a lap down at this stays green, just up ahead, as you can see when we hit those straightaways there. So we started with 29 cars, and we've got 14 in that lead pack that really kind of look like they've got a shot here at keeping pace.
And I do want to point out here, You talked about pit stops. We are on lap 18 of this stint, so we will see these guys coming down pit road either this next time by if they want to short pit it. I don't know if they would do that. We'll see. They could, and then count on a caution later to kind of make up for that. So this time by or next time, we should see people coming down pit road to top off on fuel.
What's the fuel window, Charles? I'm sorry, I wasn't able to get to the pre-race meeting trying to get my stuff together. Did we actually get a definitive answer on that?
We heard from the leader, actually, the 99 Justin Starr, that it was 20 laps on fuel. So they should be running on fumes right about now.
Well, we've got a couple caution laps on there, so they got 18 laps, and they probably got about 3 caution laps. You're going to see guys stretch this as far as they can. I'm going to guess they're going to try to at least push to 40 if they can, 41. If you're in the draft, maybe you saved a little bit of other because you're not running around full throttle all the way. So I'm guessing we probably got at least 2 or 3 more laps in us, even though they're at 20 right now.
I didn't even take into account the caution laps, but yes, that is correct. So that should definitely factor into it. And speaking of laps led, we haven't talked about that much here tonight. We've only had one lead change, and that is between, I believe that was Morrison that led 5 laps, and Justin Starr has led 32 laps. And to my knowledge, we would have to go and look at the stats. I believe that is probably the most laps he has led here this season. He's now led 33 laps here at Daytona.
Yeah, and that group of 3 drivers that we were talking about that was trying to stay on the lead lap, they just they got caught. Sterling Smith, Ray Black Jr., all these guys, they just went a lap down, and we're catching some more tore-up cars here right now too. So we are down to 14 drivers on the lead lap as we're getting ready to pit here.
Yeah, we are, and I'm going to be watching these front cars very closely. To see when, and it looks like they are coming down now, so the whole front of the field coming down, and I'm not too sure Justin may get a...
yeah, I'm not sure if he got a penalty there or not. It looked like he might have got himself an unsafe.
And I believe, if I'm correct, you can clarify this for me, that would be a hold here on pit road, correct, right now?
Yeah, I believe that is a hold. I'm trying to remember if it's a hold or come back down. I think it's a hold. It depends. I think you can get an unsafe entry coming in and exiting. So we're going to find out. But just as you surmised there, Justin Starr still sitting in this pit box. So pretty sure that's a hold, and pretty sure he got an unsafe pit entry. So we talked about the green flag pit stops being the difference in this race. And Justin Starr looked like he might have had to sit there and serve a penalty with 23 seconds. No tires. It looks like he might have gotten about a 15-second penalty or so. It's just a guess.
Yeah, that would be roughly about it. So very unfortunate. They're leading the race, 33 laps led, and now he is sitting back in 14th position, 1 lap down because of that. So just a devastating thing. Now he really needs a caution to get back on the lead lap. Well, I guess he doesn't need one. We'll see when these guys come back down. But we still have the front guys that have not. So a caution would definitely be beneficial for him to get that lap back. But he should get it back either way as the rest of the guys coming down pit road now.
Well, more than beneficial, right? We talked about you got to have a partner to pit with, a dancing partner or several partners. When he got that penalty, he had to sit there, and they left him. They're not going to wait around. So he's got nobody to draft with. He's probably about 10 miles an hour off pace. So even though he's going to get his lap back when those leaders pit, he's in trouble unless by chance these guys happen to come out of the pits and just merge right back in with him. But he's either going to need a caution or some pretty serious luck to not go a lap down should this thing stay green.
Yeah, it definitely is. And when this all cycles out, we're going to let it kind of cycle itself out here. I believe it is Craig Covington in the 96. That's our new race leader. Behind him is Mikey Neal in second place. And that will be kind of shaking itself out here. As here comes the 33 of Josh Coley. With the speed he has, I would imagine he's probably going to get by these guys. They'll catch him because they're in a group and he's not. But he could easily tag to the front of this group. He may not get by him. We'll see. I think he probably will, though.
Yeah, good chance. He's got a pretty good run on these guys right now. So that's one thing about these cars is, man, do they suck up there in that draft.
They do, and Josh Coley will take the lead. And see, we've had several leaders now, 4 different lead changes. Really, those are lead changes under pit stop conditions. They weren't during racing conditions, although we were under green for that one. We've only actually had 2 different leaders, I would say, that have led a big chunk of laps. Everyone else leading 1. Is that because people were coming down pit road and they acquired the lead? But Josh Coley is set now out front. The question is, can he hold on to the lead here as we have about 20 to go here in about 3 laps?
Yeah, it's interesting, too. We've got 4 drivers kind of in that lead pack right now. We got Josh Coley, Craig Covington, Mikey Neal, and Francois Pelletier. And as far as I know, none of these guys are kind of partnered up with each other. So we've got a couple cars, though, that are coming up on them fast. This pack's only going to get bigger. But, new alliances need to get forged here real quick.
Yeah, definitely you want to find out who out there, who's your buddy and who is not your buddy. As we know, just from looking here, we can see the radio channels that they're on. Josh Coley is all by himself, so other than radio communication through iRacing, he's not talking to anybody, as it looks like the 19 is going to go mano-a-mano to him, the man one-on-one, and try to pass him, but he just couldn't have the steam he needed.
Yeah, if we're going to go by who's on the same radio channels here, we got the 96, Craig Covington, and the 19 there, Frenchie, as they call him, Francois Pelletier, look to be teammates there right now. So, and then Ray Black up there in the picture. So Josh Coley looks like a sitting duck because we've got 3 of the Covington Motorsports guys surrounding him right now.
Yeah, definitely not where you want to be sitting. He's doing everything he can to hold them off, but he's doing a fairly good job of it as Josh Coley and the 19 of Francois Pelletier almost make contact together. But this is a straight-up drag race, 2-on-2 down the backstretch, so this could get very interesting. Hopefully, no, there it is right there. I was afraid of that contact made.
Nice save by Josh Coley. Wow, what an incredible save to go down there, that banking transition and all of that, and save that. But not only that, if he's able to latch onto the back of this draft and not lose it, that might be one of the better Daytona saves I've seen. That was just flat out incredible there.
That was indeed, and there's Justin Astar coming into the picture now, as it looks like I'm not confirmed, he was back down pit road again for 6.1 seconds, and
good move by him, right? So he just hit his fuel window. He doesn't have anybody to run with. He's a lap down. Why not go in and grab that fuel, and now he didn't have to stop again.
Yeah, he is good to the end. That's what I was just about to say, is he is probably doing that for a fuel strategy. So, a penalty was a bad thing for him. However, it's one of those things, say they turn lemons into lemonade. He may have just turned that penalty into a winning strategy. We'll definitely be watching him to see. Right now, if I'm looking, he is 1 lap down, but again, like you said, he does not have to pit again. Everybody else out here has to.
Unfortunately for him, though, he was not able to latch onto a pack of cars, and I think that's what he needed to do to make that work. Is he's still running around by himself. I think that's where he was rolling the dice a little bit, was hoping he could get a pack of cars there. But he appears to have lost the draft now, and, if we stay green and he doesn't have anybody to draft with, he's liable to go another lap down. So, kind of is in the position now where he needs a caution.
Yeah, he definitely could use a caution with 19 laps to go. It is Francois Pelletier that is out front. And, that's what we talk about here earlier in the race, that when you come to these tracks, it really is drivers, even though it's a little bit of luck, if you're good, you see the people up front here. But with as much damaged cars as we have, I think a little bit of luck is playing in here, as we have not seen the 19. I believe he's won 1 race or finished in the top 3, and he is set to try to do it again here tonight.
Yeah, well, we've got a long ways to go. We got 18 laps to go right now, but we've got the Covington Motorsports trio running up front right now, which I'm not seeing anybody else even look like they've got 3 cars that can run in that pack. And when I say running up front, Ray Black's actually a lap down, but he's still running up there and able to support his teammates, push them, run with them. So it does make it a little bit more formidable up there. They've got 3 cars to move either Craig Covington or Francois Pelletier up to the front.
Yeah, and I'm not going to lie, as a racer, and you can, we'll get your opinion to agree or disagree. If you have a teammate or a buddy out there that's a lap or 2 down that still has a fast car even though he's a lap down, that's like your best friend out there because he can push you, and even if he gets ahead of you, it's not going to take away the win from you. So that's like the best case scenario for you if you're leading the race, if you have a lap car pushing you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's we'll call that agree heavily there. If you got a teammate that's a lap down, it does him no good to pass you. I think he's in that mode right now where he's not even thinking about winning the race anymore, unless somehow he ends up battling for the lucky dog. Then he's got to pay attention to that and try to get back in the lead lap should a caution come out. But in the case of Ray Black Jr. right now, all he's thinking about is getting one of his teammates to victory lane. So definitely, we've got BFF status there, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely do. And we'll see as Josh Coley coming to the outside. He's going to try to make it 2 wide. As talked about what a save he did. What a recovery from Josh Coley. He was back in like 10th place, somewhere back there after that contact. And he's actually coming up trying to take the race lead again.
Yeah, that was fantastic save by Josh Coley. You look at that front splitter. And look at that right side kicked up. That's where it actually in that corner sent him down that banking transition and shoved that right front corner into the track. Picked tires up off the ground, got him sideways, and he's able to get it somehow. Whether that was luck or skill, we'll probably never know, but he's able to get back up on track now, and here he is fighting for the lead again.
Yes, he's got the 63, who we talked about has pushed probably just about every other leader we've had to the front. He's pushing him again, and almost more contact between the 96 and the 33 that time, as the 63 of Charles Hoffman.
Wide. Yeah, we're 3 wide for the lead right now, Charles. We got Charles Hoffman tired of pushing. He took the 33 3 wide. 33 gets left. The 31 jumps out there and follows him. So plenty of obstacles left for the 33 if he's going to get up there, but these guys continue to run 3 wide around the track, and I suspect that's not sustainable too long, but they're going for it now. I actually thought Craig Compton might make it 4 wide there for a second.
Yeah, they definitely, as we just zoomed in there on the 19 who has the damage from being slammed into another car there, has got scratch marks. It's not going to sustain forever. Eventually, something will happen. It's just a matter of racing. Something will probably happen. If they manage to go 14 laps, 3 wide for the rest of this race, I will give mad props to everybody that's involved, because that would be outstanding, but somehow I just don't think that's going to happen.
It's possible. I've been in those races before, but more than likely somebody's going to bobble or somebody's going to get in line. To run 3 wide around Daytona this long, it's tough. It is tough. You got no landmarks out there, and the fact that we continue to do this. You got the 18. He's looking at that and saying, "Here's my chance to get on the lead lap. How far back do I got to get to avoid this wreck?" And just as I say that, Josh Coley thinks better of it. Jumps back in line, and maybe he'll regroup if he can get by the 63 and try to pop out there again.
Yeah, I think that was a good call. He lost technically maybe a spot on that, but lose 1 spot or lose 10. It's a tough call. You want to get the win, but he's still got plenty of time. This track is very different than like a Bristol or something, where it's all about running somebody down. Here you can use that draft, and you can gain a lot of time very quickly if you're in this main group. It does not take much to get you back to the front.
Well, we still got green flag pit stops again to shake everything up too. So, you just got to wonder what point is there in going 3 wide right now if we think we're going to have to pit again.
Yeah, definitely. And to check in with Justin Starr, who's still one lap down, but he will not have to pit again, as he is the only one on track right now, other than John Van Varelis, who is 8 laps down. So the only car that is 1 lap down or on the lead lap that can make it is Justin Starr. So I don't want to say he's out, but he definitely needs stuff to work in his favor very good. Best case scenario, I think, for him is if we don't get a caution, as Charles Hoffman is now our race leader, just now took it. I think his best case scenario is maybe these guys mix it up on pit road and don't come out in a big group.
Justin Starr needs a caution. He's going to have to take a wave around. He's put himself in position to take the wave around. He can't get the lucky dog at this point unless something happens here to Ray Black Jr. and then maybe even Sterling Smith ahead of him. But, should there be a caution, Justin Starr can take the wave around because all these guys are going to have to pit. And then he's got a shot. But without a caution, I don't think he's got a shot. And there goes the 96 Craig Covington there. So was just getting ready to remark on those lap cars kind of in the way, and they wrecked behind him.
They do indeed, and let's go back. That was the 96 involved. If we'll find him in the scoring loop, there he is, Craig Covington, one of our lead cars. Let's go back and see what happened to him. Was that the 31 that got Scotty Zerk?
Yeah, it sure looked like it was the 31, and definitely the 31 got into the rear quarter of the 96. I guess what I haven't figured out yet is was that the 96 coming up, or was the 31 just getting a little, maybe over-aggressive with the side traffic there, a little of both?
Yeah, we're about to find out as we're watching from the blimp camera to find out exactly what happened. In the stripes are an easy way to tell, but there's not very many of them here as we're trying to find out here exactly what did happen. And it may have been a little bit of both. That is going to be a tough one to call either way. Maybe the 96 slid up, 31 came down. Either way, what we do know for sure is that contact was made, and that is going to bring out the caution once again. And, of course, no surprise, everybody except for Justin Starr will come down pit road.
Yeah, hard to say. It didn't look to me like the 96 really came up, although he was kind of running maybe a half a line up. It was kind of a single file thing going on, so almost looked to me like they were just misjudging of the distance there by the 31 of Scotty Zerk.
Yeah, definitely. It is Daytona, and this is going to get really interesting because we're going to have, maybe a 4-lap shootout when we go green.
Yeah, all these guys got to come down and get a splash of gas, except for Justin Starr, who's going to be able to take that wave around, I believe, and get back on the lead lap. So this is going to get real interesting. We'll have to see how they line up getting out of here. That green flag pit stop was going to be a big deal, and we've just taken that out of the equation.
We definitely have taken it out of the equation, and it looks like for the most part everyone is going to get off pit road here. We got some obviously fuel only for a lot of these guys. I don't think just about anybody's taking tires here tonight. Most people don't need to here at Daytona. But while we're under caution, we're going to step away here for our first commercial break, and we will be right back here in just a few moments. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen, here, and we got a couple of things to go over. One, we saw Alex Huffman disconnect there, but he is back. And interesting enough here, you caught it there, Jeff. Our top three guys did not come down pit road.
Yeah, we got 3 guys there that did not pit, and so a couple things happened there. Number one, Justin Starr, who we said was going to get the waiver round, didn't get a waiver round. He was unable to take a waiver round because those cars stayed out. That keeps him a lap down, puts him back in 16th place, so we'll have to see how that affects his points battle. But also we've got Alex Huffman, Brandon Young, Sam Crow all stayed out there. If we indeed have 20 to 21 laps of fuel, which we saw them pit short of that window before, we've got no reason to think that they don't. Not sure they could save enough on these caution laps. Man, it's going to be real close. And with these guys out front, what happens if they start running out of gas in a pack in the lead? That's just something to really watch out for here, right? Because they're up front. If that happens, can they get out of the way before somebody runs them over and we get a big pileup? So quite a few things to watch there.
Yeah, I definitely think if you're on the inside, closest to the grass or pit road, if you run out of fuel, you're pretty safe. You know, you can avoid causing a wreck. You can just kind of pull down the 10 just blew his engine too. I believe we saw a cloud of smoke and the 10 pulled down to the apron. Maybe not. He may have just locked up the brakes, but there was definitely a cloud of smoke all of a sudden. As let's go back to the 10 here and see if we can figure out what happened. Go back just a little bit here. As we'll go back right there. We're watching it here. Oh, correct. It was the 31 of Scotty Zerk that blew his engine just now.
And, of course, he was involved in that last wreck. And I just had to go back to it because we were worried about that 4th and 5th place points battle. Dan Butler actually 3 laps down to Justin Starr's 1 lap down. So, looks like Justin Starr might have locked in 4th place here.
I believe he probably has. That's a lot of interesting things happening here in the closing laps as we have drivers not pitting, drivers blowing their engines here on the pace lap. So if that's indication of what these last 5 laps are going to be when we take the green, this could get very interesting.
Yeah, pace car's off, and we're going green again here. So we've got Alex Huffman there on the 83 with a little bit less fuel load, able to pull around. Great start, get on the inside of the 51 there. And 19 kind of hung out there by himself right now. But Alex Huffman really got to defend that big gap, and 19 able to get underneath him. So good move by the 19, but Alex Huffman now he's the one that's hung out by himself.
Yeah, and they're not on their fuel window yet, but you would almost think they were as much as they're stacking up right now, as there was a huge kind of just stack up there for a minute there, as a lot of people had to check up to not run over, but Alex Huffman on the outside, he will maintain the lead, and he very well could win this race if he can make it on fuel. And we are at the point now, if a caution was to come out, this race would be over.
Yeah, we just had the 6 kind of bulldozes went through that pack in the middle, 3 wide. It worked.
Oh, and there is a wreck.
Road, and they're wrecking in the back, and that I'm not sure, but it looks like might be the end of this race.
It is indeed. It should be 4 to go. That should be enough. And I think Alex Huffman had got past right before it happened, as he will end up with a top 3 is what it's showing.
Yeah, nothing official here yet, but I'm showing the number 6 we were just talking about coming through the middle there. That looks to have been the race-winning move.
It does indeed. And let's go back here. We'll take a look while we're under caution. We'll go back here and see exactly what happened from the blimp camera here to cause this caution to come out. As you see the bold move from the 6 coming straight through the middle. And right there, he will be pushed by the 24 to the lead. And the caution actually happening a little further behind him. We'll find out exactly where it happened. There it is, the 10.
Like the 70 might have got turned and then came up into the 10. So not sure what happened to get the 70 turned.
Let's go back and take one more look at this here. As they were really jockeying. It looked like, the 5 gets into the 70. Brandon Dorsett gets into Sam Crow and collects Jason Covington with him. So a 3-car wreck will bring out the caution, and it's still showing the 6 in front. So a bold move here to go right through the middle pays off here for the 6 of Matthew Ellis.
Yeah, that was quite the aggressive move there, and actually thought he was kind of bobbling there a little bit. He didn't have a lot of room, and there was a little bit of bobble as he went through there, but he was able to keep it clean, get to the front, and pull up in front of that outside line just as the caution happened. And, like you said, that's the race-winning move.
Yeah, definitely, and got some questions coming in. How can an engine blow under pace lap? Strictly because he already had damage. He had already had some damage to that car, and it just wasn't enough to hold on. He probably, my guess, had a black flag on him. Potentially, can't confirm that, but again, it is a possibility that there was a referred to as meatball flag around here on iRacing, meaning you have damage, and he opted not to go in and get it repaired and just blew up on him.
Yeah, you take heavy damage with a blow to that front there, and you don't always blow right away, but usually you're on borrowed time. The engine sustains damage, and it goes on you. The other way you can blow an engine here is overheating in iRacing. And we know that under pacing, that's not what happened, probably. It just probably sustained major damage. And that wreck that he had that actually brought out the caution that he blew up under.
Yeah. And while we have a minute here, we got 2 laps to go when they get to the line. Of course, for anyone that's tuning in here tonight, this is, of course, the championship race here for the RACECORE iRacing Drivers World Racing Series. We are done here with this series, not this league, but this series, as we will pick back up, I believe, February 17th will be our next race. Of course, we'll have a little promo video for that coming up here in a little bit for our post-race show, but we get a little bit of a break here. So I'm not sure what you're going to do with yourself, Jeff. You like coming in here as a guest announcer with us sometimes, but we're going to give you quite a bit of time off.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll find some way to keep me busy. My league's coming to an end here too, so maybe we'll just take a few weeks off, recharge the batteries, and then get back to racing and broadcasting.
Yeah, I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We do start a new Wednesday series. But we're going to have a lot of free days around here VRN, so seems like a good time. We'll probably do some work in the back end, finish up some overlay lurk, as I know we were talking to Jason over at iBog, who has some time off, so we're going to try to finish up some of those. We got the new Virtual Racing Network website coming around as well, so a lot of stuff going on here for the new year. Obviously, here shortly, a new season for RACECORE and a new season for your league as well, so a lot of new stuff.
Yeah, typically a lull time as everybody kind of waits to start their leagues back up until about the time NASCAR does there. Around the Daytona time. So late January, February, March is when most leagues start back up in iRacing. So, what are we going to do personally? We'll probably run some little silly fun season like we like to do. I'm not sure what RACECORE has planned. They've got so many leagues, they might just need to give their drivers a little bit of a break to catch their breaths. And but before you know it, it'll be business as usual, and we'll be all scrambling to keep up again.
Yeah, I know they're starting a super late model series. They got their schedules are a little different. They got coming up, we'll be covering the Sunday series, of course, starting February 17th. And then somewhere around the June area, we'll pick the truck series back up. And, of course, then they have their super late model series on Monday nights. Obviously, unfortunately, we weren't able to cover that one because of a prior Monday arrangement, as you know about, Jeff. So we were unable to cover that one. But a lot of great stuff going on here as we are on the final lap. So assuming we see no more engines blow up, it looks like Matthew Ellis is going to put it in victory lane here tonight.
Yeah, and just did some quick checking. I did not go through all the leagues there, but I believe this is Matt Yellow's first RACECORE win. So if that is indeed the case, congratulations to Matthew Ellis on his first win here with RACECORE.
Definitely is, and I can't confirm that car on there, but if I'm not mistaken, I believe he has a 4-leaf clover on the side of that car.
Well, that certainly wasn't luck. That was definitely some very aggressive driving to come up there 3 wide through the field. So he made his own luck today. I don't believe he needed a 4-leaf clover. He was in charge of his own luck there this race.
Yeah, he definitely was. And I want to point out here, for 33 laps is what Justin Starr led here. So for over half this race, we had only 2 leaders. Now we have over 10 leaders, as there it is. They crossed the line. Your race winner will be the 6 of Matthew Ellis, who only led 5 laps, but he led the 5 that needed to count.
Yeah, absolutely. Matthew Ellis, again, great move. We saw a lot of good things there at the end of that race there. We know that we had a lot of good cars get taken out early in that race. Alex Huffman with a pretty good move there. To even finish in the top 3, we were questioning whether or not he could even, that strategy call of his was even going to allow him to run the race, and here he is on a podium spot. So, Brian Bazell, just a great run all night long. Francois Pelletier, he was up front most of the night. So, and we had Charles Hoffman up there too, man. I can't tell you, he probably pushed 90 or 10 liters to the front.
Yeah, he definitely pushed a ton to the front. It's unfortunate for him, just couldn't quite get there. Still a solid top 5 finish though for him. They're getting ready for their photos here at the start-finish line. And while they're doing that, we'll go ahead and jump to the unofficial race results. Jeff, you want to go through our top 15 finishers, and then I will finish this off.
Yeah, absolutely. Your winner tonight. First, we believe the first RACECORE win for this driver. The number 6 car of Matthew Ellis, bringing it home in second. We got the 24 of Brian Bazell. In third, we've got the 83 of Alex Huffman. In fourth, we've got the 19 of Francois Pelletier. Bringing it home in fifth, the guy that did all the pushing tonight, the 63 of Charles Hoffman. In sixth, we've got the 51 of Brandon Young. In seventh place, the number 5 of Brandon Dorsett. In eighth place, we've got the 8 car of Mikey Justified Neal. Bringing it home in ninth, even though he led a lot of laps, the 33 there of Josh Coley. In 10th, we've got the 18 of Ray Black Jr. In 11th place, we got the 10 of Jason Covington. Bringing it home 12th, we got the 17 of Sterling Smith. In 13th place, we got the 99 of Justin Starr. In 14th place, the 9 car of Brian Dorsey. And rounding out your top 15 tonight, the 96 of Craig Covington.
And for some reason, showing 17th on my scoring, but 16th place is the 70 of Sam Crow. 17th will be the 12 of James Morgan. 18th place will be 31 of Scotty Zirk. 19th will be the 21 of Dan Butler. And rounding 20th spot will be the 78 of John Van Varellas. 21st will go to the 101 of David Gainforth. 22nd will go to the 45 of Brian Jones. 23rd, the 77 of Justin Spear. 24th, the 555 of Butch Frazier. 25th will go to the 7 of Brett Meservy. 26th will go to the 98 of Jerry Glenn. 27th will go to the 57 of Jeremy Morrison. 28th will go to the 91 of Jim Locking. And 29th going to your season champion, Jameer Muhammad, who unfortunately it doesn't look like we are going to get a chance to talk to, even though he is the champion. But we'll be right back here in just a few moments with your post-race shows. We talk to your top 3 drivers and figure out what they have planned going into the off-season. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen, and we have our top two finishers here. We don't have our winner, the sixth of Matthew Ellis, so we'll just congratulate him on winning the last race here of the series. But we do have our third and second place, of course, coming in third here tonight. That is the 83 of Alex Huffman. Led 2 laps. Just about had a winning race here, as we were just hearing about before. So give us a rundown of what happened those last 5 laps, and what do you think you could have done different to win this race?
Well, I think I should have stayed up in front of Mr. Bizzle, as he said. They had a run on the inside, I thought. Only my second race in VR in here, so I was just really testing the waters, and it looked like the inside had a lot bigger run. And I dropped down, just so happened the middle had a bigger run, and then Brian had a run on the outside and got by me there for second. If I'd stayed up top, I probably would have had first or second. But, fun race.
Oh, definitely, it was a fun race to watch. When you think of a championship race for a series, you don't typically think of Daytona. So it was really cool to see this particular race. And we just heard, of course, you got third place. So how much, you don't want to say, I guess, anticipation did you have, or was it very little anticipation, knowing that you were coming to a season ending and it was at Daytona where anything could happen?
Oh, I had a lot of anticipation. We were supposed to run Daytona when this series started, but a little mess up with iRacing. We lost that setup and managed to bring it around for the season finale, and it put on a show for you, that's for sure. These cars are awesome at plate tracks, and Daytona, you see a lot of people, when it comes to real life, wanting the season ender to be at Daytona instead of Homestead, and I think we might have proven that point why.
Well, definitely a great way to end the season here. I know I wasn't the only one excited when I mentioned it to Jeff. I'm pretty sure he had a grin from ear to ear. He wanted to get in here for this race. And speaking of Jeff here in the booth with us, again, congrats on the third place finish here. We know you got some sponsors, and we'll let you give those here and shout outs before we head it over to Jeff.
Of course, I got to thank my family and friends who support me. Alan's Body Shop, H&H Signs. iRacing Drivers were for sponsoring this series. It was awesome to have them on for this series. Dan Butler Designs, Global Building Contractors for our upcoming series, Gold Cube for our Super Late Model series. You guys at VRN, you and Jeff, even though Jeff seems to barely want to show up anymore when I'm around, but glad he was here tonight to experience this race.
Well, again, congrats on third place finish. And, of course, finishing in second place is the 24, Brian Bizzle. And, Jeff, we will hand it over to you.
Hey, Brian, congratulations on a second place finish. First thing I got to do is probably apologize to you for the mispronunciation of your name all the time. I think I always call you Bizzle. And reminded here by Charles that it's Bizzle. So apologies to you there. You had a pretty eventful race there, and particularly that final restart. I don't know where you came from on the outside there, but on that restart, man, you had a head of steam. You came from, 7th or 8th, 9th place, somewhere back there, and just almost drove up on the outside all by yourself, and had that 6th of Matthew Ellis not kind of ducked inside there and taking you guys 3 wide there with, his move. I think you might have had to win there tonight. So tell us about that final restart, if you would, and what happened there.
Well, first off, Jeff, you actually had the name right. They always mess it up. You're correct.
I never claimed that I had it correct. My bad. I'm sorry, Brian.
You're fine. It's all good. It's a really hard one for people to get. But, restarted 6th, I think it was. Had a teammate of mine, Frenchie. He was in front of me running 4th. And he decided to jump down to the bottom line, leave me up there. So I seen Alex up there. It's like, well, push him out front, see if we can't work together. Then he dropped to the bottom. I was like, well, this is working out pretty good for me. I'm going to win this thing until the 6th, get down there in the middle of us and surprise us all.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, that was some driving there, too. I don't know. I went back and even looked at it a couple times there at the end of the race. I could have sworn you guys made contact. It was that close. I don't think we could have got a piece of paper between you. But you guys kept those cars apart. You didn't give them an inch. It was the end of the race. He made a good move to get through there, and some good driving by you to hold that steady line. You ended up in second place. Alex Huffman, I guess, decided, like you said, he didn't want to work with you. And the leader's not here to thank you. So congratulations. I just got one more question for you before we get to your sponsors here, and that's that hat on your headshot in the overlays there that we put on that broadcast. I got to tell you, that is absolutely my favorite driver photo that we've got in all these series here. So how did you end up with that hat?
Me and the wife went to Disney last year, I think it was, and we was walking around the gift shops, and I found it, and I just put it on, and she took a picture. I think I got a few more of a couple different characters. I'll send them all to you so you can use whichever ones you want to.
Well, fantastic. It makes me smile every time I see that thing, and congratulations on second place finish tonight. I know you got some sponsors, teammates, friends, family that you want to thank, so the mic is all yours.
Covenant Motorsports to begin with. I wouldn't have been where I was tonight without them. Running with them all night. Gold Cube, iRacing Drivers World, Global Building Contractors, and I think Dan Butler Designs. I about missed him. Don't want to miss him.
All right. Well, congratulations, and we're going to go ahead and send this back down to Charles to wrap this thing up.
Thank you, sir. Y'all have a wonderful night.
All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen, here, and that will just about wrap it up, of course. For the last time here this season, we want to thank all of the sponsors here for this series. Those that do include Global Building Contractors, iRacing Drivers World, Dan Butler Designs, and Gold Cube. If it wasn't for these great partners, well, this series wouldn't be here for the championship night, as this will wrap it up. But we need to thank all of the great partners that have come on board here for the past couple of years, or for 2017 anyway, and 18, and now 2019. Those do include Northwest Racing Series. Make sure you check them out tomorrow night and Wednesday night, as I believe we have two more races after that, one each week. And that will be rounding out that series as well, so make sure you stay tuned so you can find out who the champion is in that series as well on Monday and Wednesday night. Wool's Beard Co. Beard Balm. Make sure you check them out for all their beard balm products, all natural and organic, at woolsbeardco.com. Newly coming on board, RaceOnTexas.com. Not only are they a partner, we're going to be doing some work with them here in the future, so stay tuned for that as well. SimSpeedShop.com for all your button box, e-brakes, and flag needs. Digital flags for iRacing, of course. Make sure you check them out. And, of course, subscribe to the channel. When we hit 2,500 subscribers, we will be giving away one of their button boxes. Again, check them out at SimSpeedShop.com. iBug, iRacing Broadcast Overlay Graphics, your sim race broadcast graphic source. If you're looking to get into broadcasting or just need to get some new overlays, check them out at ibog.co. And of course, last but not least, coming on board here just recently is RACECORE themselves. RACECORE Online Racing League. If you're looking to get into a league that pretty much races all the time, you could find something you want to get into, check them out at RaceCoreOnlineRacingLeague.com. That being said, on behalf of Virtual Racing Network and RACECORE, we are done here tonight. That was the season championship here for this series. We will see you once again coming up here shortly with the new season starting February 17th. So stay tuned for that, and of course, we'll see you there.
This copyrighted broadcast may not be used in any form without the authorized written consent of Virtual Racing Network. VRN would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.